Caleb, obviously, NHL debut, one of the guys that made their debuts this year, one of the guys that went up into Edmonton, had success here as well. How do you sum up year two here in Bakersfield and in the Oilers organization?
Yeah, I think for myself personally, it was a good year. Obviously, as a team, we didn't end up accomplishing what we wanted to accomplish, but personally, I had a big year. I thought my development was really good this year. I had a little success in Edmonton, and I was able to go up there and see things I need to keep working on. But for the most part, it was a good year for me.
How important was having a guy like Dave Manson and what he brought to the table for you and for that whole entire D corps back there?
Oh, it was huge. Dave, he became really close with our D corps. We were a really tight group back there. He's played over 1,000 games in the NHL, and he sat me down from day one and kind of explained to me what he thought I needed to improve on to become a big-time player at the NHL level. And I kept working on it all year, and he was on us. He was on all of us. Showing us video every day. He's very detailed, and he was huge, especially for me personally. I became really close with him, and he's one of those guys that you look back on. Throughout your career, he'll be one of those guys that I say he kind of brought me along, and he's a big reason for my development this year.
Made the changes from year one to year two. What are they looking for out of you going from year two to year three? As now you're kind of in that mix here with a wealth of guys on the back end here competing for not only spots here but also spots in Edmonton.
Yeah, I think that's my goal next year is to make sure I give myself every chance to make the Oilers next year and become part of that team up there. But yeah, we have a lot of guys, a lot of good hockey players on our back end, and it's good to see. But yeah, after 2 years here in Bakersfield with my development this year, I would expect to be making the Oilers next year.
Caleb, where did you feel like you made the biggest strides in your development over the last couple of years? Because from what I see a player that's more confident out there, more assertive with his decision making, able to contribute on the offensive zone. How did you get to that level?
I think it took a while. I think my first year there was a big learning process there. I had my struggles defensively. I think that was the biggest improvement for me this year was in the defensive zone. I was able to, I was minus 25 my first year, and I was able to improve that this year to plus 16. So that's a credit to Dave too. He helped me a lot in my defensive game. I would say just having a little more confidence. You come in as a young guy, and there's a lot of improvement to be made, but I would just say having confidence. Like you said, I was more assertive. I was kind of a more confident player, and that helped me out a lot.
How much do you draw from the NHL experience? Because when you go up to the NHL, it's not development. It's all about winning. How much do you draw from that, and how do you take that maybe into your summer workouts in order to help you prepare for contending for an Oilers spot?
Sorry, I didn't really get
how much do you draw from that, and how do you use that as motivation or maybe as a bar that you might have to reach during the summer in order to
It's huge. I think being up there, I obviously had a little bit of success and a little bit of struggles too, toward the end before I got sent back down. That's obviously the goal. Everyone wants to play in the NHL. And I think, I get to train with my brother, which, he's turned himself into one of the, best D in the NHL, which is huge for me to learn from him. But, there's opportunity up there, and that's obviously what I'm going to work for this summer.
Did a lot of your confidence come from a lot of those guys in that room, just the feel around the locker room?
Yeah, we were a really tight group this year. I played with a lot of those guys, especially the leaders, the veterans. I've learned a lot from them through 2 years here because it was a lot of the same guys last year. But we had fun coming to the rink every day. It was a really tight group, and it was a blast. It was really sad to see it come to an end, but that was also a huge part of my development this year was being able to come to the rink and know there's a group of guys in there that are working for the same goal as me.
You always attribute your coaches, but if we can just focus on Jake Woodcroft for a second and what maybe he brought to the table and how he may have shifted the culture a little bit and added that connection that he was talking about when he was introduced back in May.
He was huge. Every guy probably said the same thing, but we all loved Woody. We really were a family in there, and obviously he was a huge part of bringing that culture in. But he's just such a great teacher. He never really wanted to call anyone out, but he's very good with showing video and making sure knowing how to get guys to play for him. So he was very motivational in that way, and we all loved him.
So what does the summer of 2019 look like for Caleb Jones?
couple weeks off and
Yeah.
right back to it.
Some
Right
golf
back in the
rounds?
gym. Yeah, a couple golf rounds and we'll get right back to it in the gym. It's hockey's become a 12-month sport, so it's a big summer for me. Obviously, I have a lot of motivation, like you said, trying to make the Oilers next year. So I'll get right back to it with my brother in Dallas.
Caleb, there's obviously a lot of big moments and memories this season. What one thing do you think stands out for you during this historic season here in Bakersfield?
Honestly, I would say just winning the Western Conference. I think that was huge. Coming into this year, Woody made it clear that we hadn't made the playoffs in Bakersfield once, and we wanted to make the community proud. And I would say just making the playoffs was huge for us. And then obviously being able to get that first round series win, that was another one. It was very exciting, and like I've said a couple of times, it wasn't, we had bigger plans, but didn't work out. I would say just being able to make the community proud of us and bring hockey back to Bakersfield and feel the energy in the building every time we were playing in the playoffs was huge.
And how is this memory going to kind of stay burned in your hopefully long journey in hockey?
Just being able to do it with those guys in there. I think it was one of the tightest groups I've ever played with. It was unbelievable. A lot of guys I'll stay in touch with, obviously throughout my career.